Hello everyone! Welcome to Usborne Books and More with Alex. I am going to talk today about some of my favorite read-alouds. I'm going to start with one of my newest favorites. It was just released in January of this year. It's called Now That's a Hat. This book is hilarious and fun for all ages, but it starts out with this this cute little dog who wants to buy a new hat, and he just wants something very simple. But they go through trying on all sorts of different funny hats. And he says, this hat is too tall, this hat is too small, this hat is too tall, but it is also too small. They go through all sorts of hilarious hats. This one says, are you sure this hat isn't a loaf of bread? I know, you know, this hat is really a boot. And you can see the shopkeeper hiding the other boot behind him and kind of pretending not to know. And my kid's very favorite page is, let's see, there is a page where he puts a tiny little potty on his head, a little kid potty, and my kids, them and girls, they're 2 and 5, they crack up every time. I'm quite sure this hat is somebody's potty. So they go through this all the hats. He finally finds the perfect hat, walks out of the shop, and whoosh, away it goes in the wind. It cracks me up every time. He goes back in to a very frazzled shopkeeper and starts looking for another hat. That one is called Now That's a Hat. One of my favorite read-alouds. This one is called Dragon Post. This is a very interactive book. It's good for a little older kids, like my 5-year-old loves this one. And there's a one very similar to this called Beast Feast, and we also have Santa Post. But this one starts out with a little boy who finds a dragon in his closet, in his basement. And he doesn't know what to do with the dragon, but he wants to keep it as a pet. So he sends away letters for all sorts of advice, and he receives replies back from everyone. This one is from the Fire Brigade, and they give him all sorts of hilarious advice about what to do with his dragon. And it's just very fun for the kids to be able to open up the mail. I mean, that is something I always loved as a kid, getting mail for myself. And then just to read the very funny answers. There's one from a butcher's shop, and he talks about how to eat the dragon. He keeps crossing out words. He has a little butcher's ad on the back. So that is Dragon Post. It's a very funny little book. My 5-year-old loves this one. And I just love that they have things they can do as they're reading the book along. Similar to my next show is Nibbles. This is definitely one of our most popular books. And we also have a little Nibbles plush character. Isn't he cute? But Nibbles is a monster who loves to nibble everything. But his favorite thing to nibble are books. And one day he escapes his cage. Uh-oh. And he makes his way out of his own book. And you can see there's a little hole in the story as he eats his way into this one is about other fairy tales that he eats through. So he eats into Goldilocks and the 3 Bears. He eats into Jack and the Beanstalk, Little Red Riding Hood. And as he eats his way through, he actually changes the outcome of the stories. In this one, he ends up saving the grandmother, and then he is the hero of the story. And Little Red Riding Hood is very upset that he's the hero. So at the very end, the kids have to trap him back in his cage. And then it says, whatever you do, do not take your eyes off Nibbles, not even for 1 second. And as soon as they look away, you turn the page and Nibbles is gone. He's eaten his way out. So it's very fun. My girls love looking for him. There's all sorts of different Nibbles books. There's Nibbles numbers and colors and Monster Hunt. They're very fun and interactive. So the next book I have to show is the Twinkly Twinkly Bedtime Book. I love this one. It's a little read aloud story. It can work for younger kids or older kids, but it has an on-off switch here in the back. And it's about a little bear who one night sees a star twinkling outside his window. He convinces his dad to take him out. They start counting the stars as they walk along. Each page has a few more stars for them to count. At the very end, he eventually falls asleep and his dad says, "How many stars now? Take a peek." But little bear is fast asleep. So I love that book. It's very sweet, and looking at the twinkly lights is lots of fun for my little ones. The next one is also a new release from January. Is Millie May Through the Seasons. There's also a Millie May Loves to Play. And this one focuses on each of the 4 seasons. And it's just about this cute little girl and the things she does in each season. It starts out with summer, and it'll show you the foliage that is in that summer. It'll talk about what outfit she chooses to wear, which is very helpful, like especially for my daughter, learning how to dress herself, knowing what is weather appropriate. And then the different activities she does. In the summer, she goes to the beach. So she takes her bucket and pail. She sees sunflowers. She builds a sandcastle. And then each season has a different heading. And she wakes up and she sees the trees. She gets dressed and she does different activities. So this one we talked about, we could see her getting ready with a little bag full of carrots. And we talked about, what could she be doing with a bag of carrots in the winter? In the next page, you find out, well, we guessed right. They were for snowman noses. So a very just adorable little book. Millie May Through the Seasons. And then one of the oldies but goodies, Mind Your Manners. I've had this one for a while. That's why I call it an oldie, but it is still a favorite. This one is about a bunch of animals in the jungle who are not being very polite. They're not getting along. Nobody's happy. This one says, "No one likes mean, greedy grabbers. I'm sure everybody agrees. You won't get far being a snatcher. Polite pandas always say please." So it's teaching them about stealing, about not paying attention to those around you. This one didn't say sorry, just all sorts of different things. This one's about littering, throwing his garbage, and they all learn their lesson until at the very end they are all living very harmoniously in the jungle together because they're all being polite and minding their manners. That one is called Mind Your Manners. Great for those younger kids who are just starting to learn things like manners, saying please, and being polite and respectful to others. And the very last book to show tonight is another new release, The Perfect Fit. This is a story about a little triangle who loves to play with the other shapes, and she has so much fun with them, but she always feels like she doesn't quite fit in. She feels like she's ruining their games, even though they tell her otherwise. So she keeps trying out different shapes, going to visit them, until eventually she finds the triangles, and she fits in perfectly, and they have fun, but she realizes it's not the same without the other shapes. So she goes and she gets them all together, and they realize that they can have so much more fun together. They can make all sorts of patterns when they're all combined. They can make a sunflower and a rocket ship. They can make a little person holding balloons. So it's just a great book about, first of all, shape recognition, color recognition, and then learning that sometimes it's better to play with everybody, even if you're not all the same. So that is The Perfect Fit, and that's the last read aloud I have to show tonight. So I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you later. Bye!